Hello everyone and welcome to another video. I have two apologies to make before we get into this one. One is that on the screenshots the conversation is going to appear upside down. That's because Facebook deleted this scammer's fake account before I managed to screenshot the conversation, so I had to retrieve it from my Facebook settings, and this is how it came, upside down. And the second is an apology for the content. I'm only putting up what the scammer wrote. But I can understand that some viewers, especially my Nigerian viewers, might find it offensive. If you do, please say so in the comments below and I'll remove the video. Denise wanted to make another personal appearance, so once again she donned her pork pie hat. Denise was introduced to Tony C. William on Facebook. As you can see, there's only Denise's half of the conversation left because his fake account was removed. But I managed to retrieve it, as I said before, from the Facebook settings.
"Hello," said our man, who's now called Other User. "Hi there," said Denise. "How are you doing?" he asked. "I'm well, thanks," she said. "You're welcome," he said, rather randomly. "Where are you chatting from?" he asked. "I live in Guildford," she said. "Where are you?" "Dallas, Texas," he said. "Nice meeting you here." "Is it very hot in Dallas?" asked Denise. "I've never been to America." "Well, I'm from there," he said, "but not there right now, actually. I'm presently in Afghanistan. I'm an orthopaedic surgeon. What about you?" Clearly he didn't get the memo that America's withdrawn from Afghanistan. "I'm retired," said Denise. "I was a school dinner lady." "It's very nice of you to stay in Afghanistan. Isn't it very dangerous?" "Yeah," he said, "but I'm getting retired next year." "I recommend retirement," said Denise. "I love it." "Well, I do love to save life. That why I choose for this contract, even it dangerous here," he said. "Who'd you work for?" asked Denise. "'Cause some already did save my ass some century back," he said. You get a prize if you can work out what he meant. He's going to tell you in a minute. "What does that mean?" asked Denise. "I take care of the injured soldiers and other staffs here," he said. "I don't understand what you meant when you said your ass was saved a century ago. How old are you?" "What I'm trying to say," he said, "is that Christ died for me so I can live." "Oh," said Denise. "I'm 60, he said. "What about you? But I guess age is just a number." "I'm 76, darling," she said. "Do you work with Afghan soldiers?" "Who'd you work for?" "Yes," he said, "I did." "Did what?" asked Denise. "Who'd you work for?" "But now I'm working under the WHO, he said. "How long have you worked for them?" asked Denise. "Over 3 years now," he said. "What about you?" "I already told you, darling," she said. "OK," he said, scrolling quickly back through the conversation to see what she'd said. "So, how long did you work as a dinner lady?" "I was a dinner lady for nearly 40 years, she said. "I started when my kids were small." "Wow," he said. "Do you have kids, if I may ask?" "I just told you," said Denise. "I started being a dinner lady when my kids were small. What did you think I meant?" "Sorry," he said. "I didn't see your text before I asked." Or to put it another way, he just copied and pasted a question from the scammer handbook. "Hope you didn't get upset." "That's OK," said Denise. "Well," he continued, "if you don't mind, can we get to know each other more better?" "Of course we can," said Denise. "How long have you been on Facebook?" he asked. "I don't know," said Denise. "My grandson Benji put me on here when my daughter gave me the iPad for Christmas." "That's so sweet," he said. "Well, I'm not always active here due to my occupation." "He's a lovely lad, is our Benji," continued Denise. "I have 4 grandchildren. What about you? Do you have grandchildren?" "Yeah," he said. "I do have 1 grandson." "How lovely," said Denise. "How old is he?" "I lost my wife and my daughter, both in the same day," he said. "Oh, I'm so sorry," said Denise. 12, said our man. "It's okay. The condolences is mine." "Where'd your son-in-law and grandson live?" she asked. "Well," he said, "my son-in-law is an African, and I don't want my grandson to go down there. My grandson is in Dallas." "Oh," said Denise, "you don't want your grandson to be with his father? Why not?" "'Cause he's an African," said our man. "That's a horrible thing to say," said Denise. "And he's a Nigerian," said our man. "That's why." "I think that's very rude of you," said Denise. "Your poor grandson. Are you telling me you won't let him see his own father?" "Well, I really don't want anything to happen to my grandson," he said, "since I lost both my wife and my daughter." "He will, but not yet." "Your son-in-law lost his wife, and your grandson lost his mother, and you're stopping him seeing his father? I think that's a horrible thing to do. You aren't a nice man, are you? And you aren't even looking after him yourself, are you? Who does he live with?" "He lives in my house in Dallas, Texas, now." "On his own?" said Denise. "I make everything he needs very possible," added our man. "I hired a nanny for him." "You hired a nanny for a 9-year-old boy who lost his mother and grandmother and swanned off to Afghanistan and left him and refused to let him see his father? You are a truly ghastly human being. I hope that God you talked about helps you see enlightenment. Otherwise you'll rot in hell for your treatment of your own grandson." "He's always come for visiting, but not taking my grandson to Nigeria," he said. "Go away," said Denise. "I don't want to talk to such an arrogant, self-centred man. I have nothing but pity for your grandson. Your own daughter chose to marry a man from Nigeria. I bet she was deeply upset by your attitude towards her husband and her child." "I'm sorry," he said. "I don't mean to." "You don't mean to what?" said Denise. "Be an arrogant, selfish, self-centred man?" "OK," he said. "I will make you a promise, and I will do it as quick as possible." "And what might that be?" said Denise. "To be a good man," he said. "Just tell me what I should do." "That might take some serious working on in your case," said Denise. "You seriously need me to tell you what to do? You abandoned your own grandson. You've maligned the man your daughter chose to marry." "Well, I didn't," he said. "You refused to allow your grandson to see his father," continued Denise. "And you asked me what you should do?" "Well then," he said, "I will make some arrangements to send him to his dad." "What you should do is get on the next plane to Dallas, get your grandson, and take him on the first plane to Nigeria," said Denise. "Or tell his dad to come pick him at the airport." "I'll do just that," he said. "Because unless his father is even more of an egotistical, selfish, self-centred, arrogant bastard," that's right, Denise, you tell him, "than you are, then he should be with his father. So goodbye." "Please, don't just leave," he said. "I know I'm wrong. Just tell me this goodbye is not forever." "That's a start," said Denise. "You have a whole lot of things to start making right." "Oh yes, that goodbye is forever. You're the most selfish, arrogant man I've ever met." "Please, Denise," he said. "I'm so sorry." "I would have done anything for my kids and grandkids," said Denise. "I can't even begin to imagine how you could abandon a bereaved child to the care of a nanny and swan off overseas for your work." "Well, if you don't mind, contact his dad for me," he said, "on WhatsApp. If he turns into a troubled teenager, then there's only one person to blame. I have no idea what you're talking about." And he gave Denise somebody's WhatsApp number, presumably in Nigeria. "Just help me talk to him," he said. "What are you talking about?" said Denise. "That my grandson father's WhatsApp number," he said. "Help me talk to him, please." "You're seriously asking a stranger to talk to your own son-in-law rather than man up and do it yourself?" "No," said our man. He's just 20 years old. Your grandson's father is 20? asked Denise. Yes, said our man. I guess he's young. So he was 11 years old when he married your daughter? Not married, he said, before she passed away. How old was your daughter when your grandson was born? asked Denise. She was 17, he said. And she was in a relationship with an 11-year-old boy who was living in Dallas. Why did he go to Nigeria? He's Nigerian, replied our rather helpless and hopeless scammer. But he must have been living with his family in Dallas when he was 11. No, with his uncle, I guess. You're a doctor? asked Denise. Our man, by now completely hopelessly lost and not getting any of Denise's points, could only agree. Orthopaedic surgeon, he said. Would you say it's possible for an 11-year-old boy to father a child? she asked. Age does not matter, he said. Really? asked Denise. How old does a boy have to be before he's able to father a child? And why was your daughter in a relationship with an 11-year-old when she was 17? I think she might have been lying to you about who the baby's father really was. Well, I really don't know why she would do that, he said, and that's the main reason I can't let go. Then, starting to realising what he'd said, he said, 18. So it's very unlikely that your grandson's father was just 11 years old, isn't it? So you need to find out who his real father is. Yeah, he said. And as a doctor, said Denise, it's taken you until now to realise. God help your patients, because it's obvious that you can't. I never wanted to tell anyone about it, he said. About what? asked Denise. My grandson. Tell anyone what about your grandson, she said, that you don't know who his real father is. I might not tell anyone much as I told you. That doesn't make sense, said Denise. You mean you'd lie to anyone else? Tell them your grandson's father was an 11-year-old boy and give them the phone number of someone in Nigeria who's pretending to be your grandson's father? Whoops, said Denise, who'd typed, you mean you would lie to anyone else? And what she meant was, you mean you wouldn't lie? I should hope you wouldn't. Please, he said, it's enough. Yeah, said Denise, I've had enough of you. You're a truly horrible person. Thanks, he said. Goodbye, said Denise. And so he went, shortly before Facebook deleted his fake account.
If you'd like to support my channel, you're welcome to buy me a cuppa. Go to www.buymeacoffee.com/romance-scammers. I'll leave the link in the description box below. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Please share it. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you again in another video.